Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are continuing with Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Adi Lila, chapter 3, verse number 62 onwards. Bahutuli Hari Bali Prema Drishtya Chaya Kariya Kalmashanasha Premite Bhasaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Raising his arms, chanting the holy name, and looking upon all with deep love, he drives away all sins and floods everyone with love of Godhead. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Such a beautiful verse. Says raising his arms. I remember many years ago in Mumbai, I was sitting in Guru Maharaj's room. He had the Panchatattva on the wall just behind his desk. And so he said, any questions? You know, after darshan, he says, do you have any questions? So I raised my hand and I said, why are they having their arms raised up, raising the arms? So he said, this is to show that we are completely surrendering to the Lord, that complete surrender, just like Draupadi, right? Only when she let go of her sari and, you know, called out to Govinda, that's when he came to help. So here this verse is talking about raising his arms, surrendering like Draupadi, not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but devotees surrendering their lives to the Lord, just like Draupadi. And then he says, chanting the holy name. Practically in every lecture of Srila Prabhupada, he talks about chanting. Practically every, because that is the life and soul of the devotee. Why chanting? Because chanting helps us to go back to Godhead. And important word before chanting is attentive chanting. We know the word. Theoretically, we know it. Practically, like they say, Than Than Gopal, you know, like theoretically we know. So here, it's saying raising his arms and chanting the holy name, looking upon all with deep love. That was the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come down. Just to save us, conditioned souls, by giving us the Maha Mantra and also showing us how to love Krishna. And he's everything about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is love. So here he is looking with deep love, so merciful and compassionate. Why is he looking with deep love? Because we need it. We are like running around. It's like a forest. We are just running around, no goal in life, don't know what to do, just know the immediate goals in life. Oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. That's it. But he has come, he has given us the holy name, and he's showing us how to love Krishna with his own personal example. And he says, by doing so, he drives away all sins. Prabhupada said that Krishna, when he came 5,000 years ago, he demanded, you have to surrender, Sarva Dharman. You have to surrender. Only then I will wipe away your sins. Now, surrender is a very heavy word. Surrender means everything. It's not just chanting 2 hours in the morning or, you know, doing Mangal Aarti in the morning or reading a little bit of Prabhupada. That is not. According to Srila Prabhupada, surrender means 24/7. It should be such that when we go to bed, we go with that consciousness of Krishna. And when we wake up, the first thing we think of is Krishna. That is a process he gave us. So here he's saying, just by raising arms and chanting the holy name and looking upon all with deep love, he drives away all the sins. So if somehow or the other we can surrender to Shishi Nitai Gaurachandra, then it'll be possible for us to make our lives sin-free. We are committing sins every day, right? We may be, thinking that, yes, I'm a devotee, I've been chanting for X number of years, I'm offering bhoga, I'm following 4 regulative principles, so I'm sin-free. Is that true? No, that's not true. We commit so many sins unintentionally, unknowingly. So here is a process by which he drives away all the sins. And Srila Prabhupada says, if we somehow or the other become fully Krishna conscious, not percentage wise, right? I think in companies, in the corporate world, you have those presentations, right? PowerPoint presentations. And in those presentations, you have those nice pictures. And that, like, there is a circle, and then it's divided into different parts, right? 10%, 50%, like that, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Pie chart.
What?
Pie chart.
What chart?
Pie.
Apple pie?
Pie.
Pie chart. Oh, I didn't know that. I learned something new. I should have been working more. Okay. In my days, there were no PowerPoints. Ancient days. Many, many, many years ago, there were no PowerPoints, right? So pie chart, right? In that, we invest so much of our time, effort, and energy in that, because that presentation can help us increase our business, please the boss, right? Get a promotion, things like, true or not, right? There has to be some good. So why not have a presentation for our Krishna consciousness? What is it? How much percentage are we giving to Krishna? How many seconds are there in a day? 86,400 seconds in a day. Have you ever thought about it? And then how much of those seconds, how many of those seconds are we Krishna conscious? So here he's saying, just be fully Krishna conscious, and he has come to flood us with love for Krishna. He is ready to give us. I was reading a very nice story by Bhakti Saraswati Thakur. He has a very nice book. I don't remember the name of the book, but he has many stories, very, very, maybe 1-page story with a big moral after that. So there was this gentleman who was very, very hungry. And he was there on the side of the road. There was a big pillar, and he was holding on to that pillar and saying, I'm hungry, please help me, please help me. So there was a passerby who was eating popcorn. I don't know whether the story said popcorn or something he was eating. And chips. Chips were not available in those days. Peanuts. Whatever it was, the point is there was some food with him. So he offered that food to this man. He said, you're hungry, I'm ready to share my food with you. He said, yeah, I'm hungry, I want to eat, but I don't want to let go of that pillar. I want to hold on to that pillar. How can you do that? You have to let go, pick up that food and put it in your mouth, and that's how you get energy. So here, flood of love of Godhead is there, but our hands are tied, so we are not ready to, or we don't want to, or we have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, that after 5 years, 10 years, I will open my arms and I will accept this love of Godhead. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev. This whole creation, we have gone through so many lifetimes. But with Guru Krishna Prasad, with their mercy, we have got this opportunity of Krishna consciousness. What more do we want? Right? Always I ask this question, what would we be doing right now if Srila Prabhupada did not come to the US and did not give us Krishna consciousness? What would we be doing? It's a scary thought. right? What would it be? We wouldn't have known I am not this body. We wouldn't have had the formula to break the cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead. Nothing. We would just be living, sorry to say, like animals, right? Eat, sleep, be merry. Eat, sleep, mate, defend. That's it. Do our job as a parent or as a, daughter-in-law or whatever it may be. Just do our duty. And then what? What do you think then what? Come back. Come back, and depending on our past actions, not sure if we'll come back as a human being. So here in this verse, he's saying that he, raising his arms, chanting the holy name, looking upon all with deep love, he drives away all sins and floods everyone with love of Godhead. All we have to do is think about the process given to us by Srila Prabhupada and just follow it sincerely. Very, very sincerely and seriously. Next verse, number 63. Snitaloka shokam harati jagatam yasya parito giram tu prarambha kushala patalim pallavayati padam lambah kam va pranayati nahi prema nivaham sadevash chaitan kritri atitaram naha kripayatu. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Lord Sri Caitanya bestow his causeless mercy upon us. His smiling glance at once drives away all the bereavements of the world, and his very words enliven the auspicious creepers of devotion by expanding their leaves. Taking shelter of his lotus feet, invokes transcendental love of God at once. Purport. This verse is Dvitiya Sri Chaitanya Shtaka 8 from the Stavamala of Srila Rupa Goswami. So we can see, excuse me, Srila Rupa Goswami has given us pearls of wisdom, right? These are pearls of, and he is saying that Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to bestow his causeless mercy upon us. That was his whole purpose. Of course, he had another purpose also, but main thing was to help us. Help us souls, conditioned souls who are stuck in this material world. And what did he do? He gave us a very simple method to become self-realized. Simple method. Chant and be happy, right? He just gave us the 8 verses Shikshasakam. He gave us the Maha Mantra, and he, with his personal example, showed us how we should live this spiritual life. So here it says that his words enliven the auspicious creepers of devotion by expanding their leaves. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has explained this to us before also, right? The seed of devotion, which is sowed in our hearts by our spiritual master. Then what do we do with that seed is we water it. We water it by eating prasadam. Everyone is nodding their head. No! Either you are asleep or you're not in this room. We water it by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And he also said that Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, we water it by chanting, but then we remove the weeds also. All the anarthas in our heart, they need to be removed. So basically, Krishna consciousness means that we are conscious of Krishna all the time. How? By chanting, by following the 4 regulative principles, by trying hard to remove the anarthas from our hearts, right? It's not an automatic process. We have to make an effort. First of all, we need to recognize these anarthas. How do we do that? How do we recognize anarthas in our heart? Because if we ask our mind will say, you're number one. You are best. You have everything that is needed to go back to Godhead. But we don't listen to the mind. Well, then what should we do? Yes, find out. get guidance. And then when the anarthas are being removed, then the love also will start developing. And then we need to even protect that creeper of devotion. And that creeper of devotion is
protection,
association of devotees. That is the protection for this creeper of devotion. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also explains. So, taking shelter of the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is what this verse is talking about. Taking shelter of his lotus feet invokes transcendental love of God at once. What does that mean? By following his instructions. I think on YouTube we can find lectures on Shikshastakam for each verse. There's a beautiful description. What does this verse mean? Right? We many times, talk about this particular verse from Shikshastakam. We quote it very often. What is that verse? No. Trinadapi sunichena. Right? What does the verse talk about? That we should be more humble than a blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. And we should offer respects to everyone and not expect respect from others. So the question comes that, are we thinking about that verse? Do we ever think about that verse? If we do, what are we doing about it? If someone doesn't give us respect, what do we do? Blacklist. Blacklist them, right? Cross mark. Oh, they don't know who I am and they didn't even offer respect to me. No. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we should offer respects to everyone, but not expect respect from them. So this is how, if somehow the other we can meditate on these 8 verses of Shikshastakam, then Prabhupada says we can become fully Krishna conscious. Then love of Krishna is guaranteed. Next verse, number 64. Shri Anga Shri Mukha Yei Kare Darashana Tara Papakshaya Haya Paya Premadhana. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who looks upon his beautiful body or beautiful face becomes freed from all sins and obtains the wealth of love of Godhead. When this verse is saying anyone who looks upon his beautiful body, whose beautiful body? It's good to know whose beautiful body. Yes, not our beautiful body. That we have to see, right? It says anyone who looks upon his beautiful body. Just look upon the beautiful face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What do we do when we go to the temple for darshan? First take darshan of the lotus feet of the Lord and then gradually go up and then see the beautiful face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? It shouldn't be we go to the temple and we take attendance. Oh, that one has not come. Oh, that one has come. Check mark in my mind, right? So many have come, so many. No, we go there to take darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it says that the darshan of the Lord is enough and sins can be removed and love for Krishna will develop within our heart. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful that he has given us a very simple process. He did not say, go to the Himalayas and meditate. He did not say, give up your family. Some may be happy to give up family, but most don't want to give up their family, right? So all that he did not ask for at all. All he said is, do wherever you are situated, in whichever family, wherever place you are, just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. This holy name is so powerful that it can help us to develop love for Krishna. It can help us to remove the anarthas. It can help us to remove all the sins that we have accumulated since many lifetimes, right? So chanting is very powerful, and Srila Prabhupada says that it is enough. We don't need to do anything else. So then one may say, Okay, from tomorrow, I'm just not tomorrow, today, right now, I'm just going to chant and I will not do anything else. Will that work? Which means I will not offer bhoga, I will not follow regulative principles, I will not read the scriptures, I will not associate with devotees. Will it work? No. We are so conditioned, we need the whole package. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given us the whole package. Verse number 65. Anya avatare sab sainya shastra sange Caitanya Krishnera sainya anga upange. Translation. In other incarnations, the Lord descended with armies and weapons, but in this incarnation, his soldiers are his plenary parts and associates. His soldiers. Krishna never comes alone. He always comes with his associates. And here in this verse, it is said that these are his soldiers who are his plenary parts and associates. So who are his associates who came with him? There was Lord Nityananda, the original spiritual master. He's considered the original spiritual master. And he's the most merciful one. Yes, then Advaita Acharya, another soldier is Shri Advaita Acharya, who begged Krishna to come down for us, right? With Ganga Jal and Tulasi leaves, he prayed and begged. How compassionate. Because he knew that people in Kali Yuga are going to go down the drain if there is no Krishna consciousness in their lives. Then it'll just be a downward fall. So he begged. Then Sri Gadadhar, who's Srimati Radharani herself, most merciful, right? She also came down. In fact, day after tomorrow is Radha Ashtami. Have we decided what gift are we going to give her? Or we are just going to go to temple, have darshan, eat prasadam and come back? That's the easy way out, right? When it is our birthday, what do we expect? Some gifts, right? Of course, now as we have grown older, we don't really care about birthdays, but we still do care. Who called me? Who wished me? All check mark, right? Who called me at midnight? My best friend who remembered me at midnight. The clock struck 12, my birthday started, and I got the wish. What about giving something to Srimati Radha? She doesn't need anything at all. Whatever we will offer her as a gift will be for our own benefit only. So here, Sri Gadadhar is merciful, Srimati Radharani came, and Srivas Thakur, who is Narad Muni, who came to help us or to show us how to perform bhakti. That is what Narad Muni does. He goes from different planets to different people just to teach them how to do bhakti for Krishna, right? So all of them, they descended to deliver us. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Shri Gadadhar, and Srivas. They all came down as soldiers. They are all plenary portions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's Krishna himself, just to show us how we can deliver ourselves. And how they just didn't give theory, they just didn't sit down and give pravachan. Do this, do this, do this, do this. No, they themselves showed it by their own example. That, okay, this is how bhakti needs to be performed. And they gave us instructions, they gave us knowledge. And this whole knowledge is coming down in strict disciplic succession through the 6 Goswamis, right? After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, and then we have our spiritual master. So this is how this knowledge is coming down, and the instructions to show us a simple method of how to go back to Godhead. And what are the weapons of these associates? Their instructions. That's it. Those are their weapons. They didn't have to bring sword and gun and what is called AK-57, 27, whatever. Huh? 47.
47.
Oh, here also. I hope you all don't have AK-47. Right? So AK-47. No, they didn't have to bring all that. All they brought was their instructions. That knowledge was sufficient for us. And that is why Srila Prabhupada always stressed on following the six Goswamis, following the parampara, following his instructions. And when we do that, when we have a strong morning program, then we start to get a kavach that can protect us from Maya. Maya can strike any moment. We may see something, and before we know, we are in Maya. We may think I am not in Maya, but it's possible, right? So here it says that they descended. He descended with his soldiers, they are his plenary parts and associates. Verse number 66. Sadopasayah Shriman Dhritam Anujakaye Pranayitam Vahadbhir Girvaner Girisha Parameshti Prabhritbihi Swabhaktebhyaha Shuddham Nija Bhajana Mudram Upadishan Sa Caitanya Kim Me Punar Api Drishos Yasyati Padam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always the most worshipable deity of the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, who came in the garb of ordinary men, bearing love for him. He instructs his own pure devotional service to his own devotees. Will he again be the object of my vision? Purport. This verse is Prathama Sri Chaitanya Shtaka 1 from the Stavamala of Srila Rupa Goswami. So, what does Rupa Goswami want? He wants Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the object of his vision. He just wants to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all the time. He wants to focus only on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On Tuesday, I was doing Bhagavad Gita verse where it says, Vyavasatmika buddhi eke he guru nandana bahu shakha hi anantascha, right? That we should use our intelligence in focusing only towards Krishna. Focus. It should not be bahu shakha, like many branched, that I will do this also and that also and I here and that. No, then it becomes a lot of confusion. It's like jack of all trades, master of none, right? So here also, Rupa Goswami, he wants to focus only on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his instructions, no deviation at all. And he wants to worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by understanding the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When we chant every day the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, what are we thinking about? We shouldn't be thinking about anything. We should be hearing, right? It is the sound vibrations. When we focus on the sound vibrations, then the purification of the heart will take place. So here it says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most worshipable. He is the deity of demigods. That means the demigods also understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. They understand that their object of worship is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Krishna himself. They understand that they are subordinate to Krishna. They are not on the same equal level as the Supreme Lord. And it says in the verse, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. And we have heard from Srila Prabhupada that even they came down. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, even they came down, right? Lord Brahma came as Haridas Thakur to be part of the transcendental pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it is said that Sadashiva and Mahavishnu came as Advaita Acharya. So they also came down to assist the Lord in his transcendental pastimes. And it says in the verse that they both were bearing love in their hearts for the Supreme Lord. Now, bearing love in the heart, what does it mean? It's so difficult, right? Bearing love for the Lord in the heart. That is possible only when the heart is purified. Then we can realize what does it mean that there is love for the Lord within our heart. Krishna's presence is felt at that time. So what was the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance? Just to give us pure love, just to show us how to love Krishna in a pure way, just to give us a simple process of Bhakti Yoga, just to give us the small Maha Mantra, you know, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Simple process. And so sweetly and nicely explained to us by Srila Prabhupada. Very, very simple. All we have to do is just follow it and make our lives perfect. Verse number 67. Angopanga astra kare swakarya sadhana anga shabdera artha arashuna diyamana. Translation. His plenary parts and associates perform the work of weapons as their own specific duties. Please hear from me another meaning of the word anga. So that means the plenary parts of the Supreme Lord and his associates also have duties to perform, right? So important word in this verse is please hear. That's also what Srila Prabhupada used to always say, please hear. And he also mentioned that his spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, appreciated that quality of Srila Prabhupada, that he would hear attentively. He would sit in front of his spiritual master and he would hear attentively. And that is also the requirement of hearing and understanding the scriptures, that there has to be attentive hearing. Now he says he's going to explain the meaning of the word anga. Let's read verse number 69. Anga shabde amshaka he shastra paramana angera avyava upanga vyakhayana. Translation. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, a bodily limb or anga is also called a part or amsha, and a part of a limb is called a partial part, upanga. So this was spoken by Lord Brahma to Krishna. This was, we remember that pastime where Lord Brahma stole the cowherd boys and the cows and the calves, just for a split second, he stole them. And that was 1 year on this earthly planet. So when he came back, what did he see after a split second? That they are all there. And then he went back. They are also there. They are here also. So that's how he realized that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he understood his mistake, his offense. So he begged forgiveness from the Supreme Lord. So this is what he said afterwards. This is when Krishna showed his mystic powers to Lord Brahma. That is when Lord Brahma, talked about this. He's praying to Krishna and he's apologizing to him. And of course, why is he apologizing? Because he tried to test the Supreme Lord. He wanted to test, is this little boy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? But after he realized, he understood and he addressed Krishna as the proprietor, that you are the actual proprietor of everything. You are the one who is the seer of everything. You are the one who is the super soul within the heart. You are the one whose plenary expansion is Garbhodakshay Vishnu. He realized that, this is that Garbhodakshay Vishnu from where I had appeared, my birth had taken place. So he realized all that. And he also mentioned in his prayers that you're also Shirodakshay Vishnu, which is a super soul within the heart. So the essence is that Brahma was born from Narayana, and now he understands there is no difference between Narayana and Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Narayana is just an expansion of the Supreme Lord. So here, these are the prayers of Lord Brahma. Verse number 69. Narayanas tvam nahi sarva dehinam atmasya adhikshakhila lokasakshi narayano angam narabu jalayana tachapi satyam na tavaiva maya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father Narayana? Narayana refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara or Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And that Narayana is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. Purport. This text was spoken to Lord Krishna by Brahma in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 14. So here we see that Lord Brahma, the first person to be born, one who knows all the Vedas, who got all the knowledge from Lord Krishna himself, he is himself acknowledging, he is giving us knowledge with reference who is Narayana. He is the plenary portion of Lord Krishna. He is explaining it. So we have reference here when people say, oh no, Krishna came from Vishnu or Krishna came from Narayana. We have references from the scriptures which clearly tell us that Narayana comes from Krishna himself. So reference is given which shows that Krishna is the origin, and portions and Krishna, the plenary portions, they are all expansions, they are all coming from Krishna. We learned this in Bhagavad Gita also, chapter 10. Aham sarvasya prabhu matah sarvam pravartate. Everything emanates from me. That is what Krishna says. So everything comes from Krishna and he is the source of all. Verse number 70. Jalashai antaryami ye narayana seho tomara amsha tumi mula narayana. Translation. The manifestation of the Narayana who predominates in everyone's heart, as well as the Narayana who lives in the waters, or Karana, Garbha, and Kshira, is your plenary portion. You are therefore the original Narayana. Another reference that Krishna is the origin, everyone comes from him. Even Narayana is the plenary portion of Lord Shri Krishna. That means Krishna is the source of all. And that is why in Brahma Samhita we see the very first verse clearly says, Sarva Karana Karanam, that Krishna, you are the cause of all causes. Verse 71. अंग शब्दे अंश कहे से हो सत्य है माया कार्य ना है सब चित्तानंद माया. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word anga indeed refers to plenary portions. Such manifestations should never be considered products of material nature, for they are all transcendental, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Purport. In the material world, if a fragment is taken from an original object, the original object is reduced by the removal of that fragment. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all affected by the actions of Maya. The Ishopanishad says, Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. Sri Ishopanishad invocation. In the realm of the absolute, 1 plus 1 equals 1 and 1 minus 1 equals 1. Therefore, one should, is that true? 1 minus 1 equals 1? Huh?
Realm of absolute.
Oh, that is the important point, right? In the realm of the absolute, 1 plus 1 equals 1 and 1 minus 1 equals 1. Therefore, one should not conceive of a fragment of the Supreme Lord in the material sense. In the spiritual world, there is no influence of the material energy or material calculations of fragments. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that the living entities are his parts and parcels. There are innumerable living entities throughout the material and spiritual universes, but still Lord Krishna is full in himself. To think that God has lost his personality because his many parts and parcels are distributed all over the universe is an illusion. That is the material calculation. Such calculations are possible only under the influence of the material energy Maya. In the spiritual world, the material energy is conspicuous only by its absence. In the category of Vishnu Tattva, there is no loss of power from one expansion to the next, any more than there is a loss of illumination as one candle kindles another. Thousands of candles may be kindled by an original candle, and all will have the same candle power. In this way, it is to be understood that although all the Vishnu Tattvas from Krishna and Lord Chaitanya to Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, and so on appear with different features in different ages, all are equally invested with supreme potency. Demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva come in contact with the material energy, and their power and potency are therefore of different gradations. All the incarnations of Vishnu, however, are equal in potency, for the influence of Maya cannot even approach them. So what is the topic going on over here is Anga, plenary portions or plenary parts, right? So this verse and purport explains that these are not material, they are all spiritual because they are coming from Lord Krishna himself. They are transcendental. They are Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Anand. They are eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. This is the plenary portions are, they have the same supreme potency, Srila Prabhupada says. And a beautiful verse is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, Om Purnam Ada Purnam Ida, right? No matter how many parts are taken out from Krishna, Krishna still remains the whole. There is, yes, perfect, whole, transcendental, Satchidananda Vigraha. He still remains complete. That is a translation of this verse and this purpose. Just as Krishna and his plenary portions are not material, we should not consider these plenary parts or portions to be material. They have same supreme potency. Similarly, we have heard that the bona fide spiritual master also should not be considered as an ordinary person. He is not an ordinary personality. He is not ordinary at all. It is actually an offense to consider the spiritual master to be an ordinary person, right? So here, just like Krishna is eternal, all his parts also are eternal. And then Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about how powerful these plenary portions are. He says that they are so powerful that you can consider them to have the same power as Krishna himself. That's why they are considered Vishnu Tattvas. Right? They are Vishnu Tattvas. They are not material at all. And no, there is no loss of power, even though they are just a plenary portion of the Supreme Lord. Let's see what the next verse has to say. Verse number 72. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanyera Duyanga Angera Avyava Gana Kahi Upanga. Translation. Sri Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityanand Prabhu are both plenary portions of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are the limbs or angas of his body. The parts of these two limbs are called the upangas. See how powerful these plenary portions of Krishna are. They can even crush the faithless atheists. Can crush. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining to us the importance of understanding the difference between Krishna and his plenary portions, the Vishnu Tattvas. There is no difference. But it's important to understand the difference between Krishna and the demigods. We learned that already in Bhagavad Gita. So many verses in the Bhagavad Gita that talk about how the demigods are not equal to Krishna, how they are powerful controllers that are working under the direction of the Supreme Lord, that is Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level. So it's important to understand this and have these references in our mind, because many times we will be questioned. I'm sure those of you who are preaching come across these questions of difference between Krishna and demigods, right? Demigods is like a very hot topic, right? In preaching, everyone wants to know, which is a good thing, to know the difference between Krishna and the demigods. So if somehow or the other we can refer to Guru Sadhu Shastra, whatever we have heard from the spiritual master, whatever we have heard from the scriptures, and whatever we have heard from the acharyas, if we can have the reference from all three, then we will be able to preach nicely and explain who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Prabhupada also mentions that it is only the intelligent will study the scriptures, and they will be able to explain it to others. They will not get bewildered. Now one may say, I'm studying Prabhupada books almost every day, right? But we have to see, like many times when I am preparing for lectures, I have to find out from my husband, what does this mean, right? Then he will give me a reference from somewhere else and say, okay, this is what it means. So how do we learn? Just by reading? No. Just by hearing? No. Just by discussing with other devotees. Remember, I had said this is what I learned from Vrindavan, that whenever we hear something, in the class, we should discuss it with three people, three devotees. When we discuss it with three devotees, then it stays with us. Otherwise, it goes from here and comes out from there. It doesn't stay here. Discuss it with three devotees. So what is the benefit of that? First of all, that we are able to retain what we have heard. Secondly, we get to associate with devotees, right? And thirdly, we get to hear from them. What have they learned in today's class? So just theory cannot help us in understanding, but if we make that sincere endeavor in associating with devotees, that pleases Guru and Krishna, and then we get their mercy somehow or the other. So to help us, Krishna comes down himself in his original form. He also comes down like he came 500 years ago as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to show us bhakti. And he also comes down as his representatives, the bona fide spiritual masters. And all we need to do is just follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Once we do that, then we please the Guru. And when Guru is pleased, Radha Krishna are pleased. We don't have to make any separate effort. So our goal should be to please the spiritual master, and then there will be success in spiritual life. Let's see the last word for today. Angopanga Tikshna Astra Prabhura Sahite Sei Sab Astrahaya Pashanda Dalite. Thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the form of his parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheists. Purport. The word Pashanda is very significant here. One who compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the demigods is known as a Pashanda. Pashandas try to bring the Supreme Lord down to a mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God, or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise him as equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of Lord Chaitanya or Krishna, although his activities are all contradictory to those of a genuine incarnation. And thus they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the Pashandas. Pashandas or atheists cannot understand the pastimes of the Supreme Lord or transcendental loving service to the Lord. They think that devotional service is no better than ordinary fruitive activities or karma. As the Bhagavad Gita 4.8 confirms, however, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, saving the righteous and chastising the miscreants, paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya cha dushkritam, always curb these nonsensical atheists. Miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends his bona fide representatives and appears himself to curb this nonsense. Here Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes people, they accept an ordinary person as God, And then they advertise him as the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. There's this nice pastime when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was here. Someone, I don't remember the whole pastime, but someone said, that Lord Vishnu has appeared, Lord Vishnu has appeared, kind of, that, one person says, another hears, and another, it goes around. And people were, thinking that, oh, Vishnu has come, Vishnu has come. Either it is Vishnu or Narayana, something like that. So then one day, one person was, watching that there was a light far away. Does anyone remember that pastime? There was a light. He could see a light far, far away. And he says, oh, that is the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. The Lord has appeared. Vishnu has come, or Narayana has come. So when this news reached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very angry. He said, what is this nonsense? And what did they find out? When they went close to see, it was just a boat with a light, And they were just thinking Narayana has come, Vishnu has come, right? So there are many in this world, who will take ordinary people as God. Sometimes it is also, what is that called? In the family, like in my family before marriage, they used to think one guru to be God, worshipped him as God. And so things like that. But where is the reference from the scriptures? Is it given in the scriptures that such and such guru who has appeared in Hyderabad is actually a Supreme Personality of Godhead? No. So here Prabhupada is making a very strong point that we should not create our own imaginary God or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise him equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No, not at all. So here the Lord has come with his plenary portions, with his soldiers, as it is mentioned in the previous verses. They have come just to help us go back to Godhead. Now we have to make that choice. Am I done with this material world and I want to go back to Godhead after this lifetime? Or I don't mind coming back into this material world because it is a very nice place, where you get pizzas to eat and you can watch movies, things like that. This is nice, comfortable, or very enjoyable place. So we make that decision. If we make our decision that our goal in life is to go to Goloka Vrindavan, to associate with the Supreme Lord over there in the transcendental body, then Srila Prabhupada has given us this whole simple process, complete process, which can guarantee success in our spiritual life. So I'm going to end here. This is still verse number 73. And if anyone has any questions,